I read the Health Minister's amendment, where she lists 34 projects, and I particularly paid attention looking for Gladstone, because I thought maybe they would restore the closed birthing services in Gladstone, one of Queensland's major regional hospitals. But alas, in 3 pages of her amendment, not one mention of Gladstone. And what's happened now? There are parents, there are mums having their babies on the side of the road, thanks to this government closing down birthing centres in regional Queensland. Rockhampton's a pretty big, long way to go for that satellite hospital, isn't it? So I wonder what they would call these birthing services on the side of the road. Maybe, given that they like to change names to pretend they've got services, maybe these are do-it-yourself satellite hospitals. Or maybe they are mobile birthing units, cars where mums don't have the benefit of having what they should have, which are proper birthing services. And this has been closed down under this government. It's a disgrace. So this amendment is a sham, it is deception and it's trickery, to quote or borrow some words from the member for Palmerston. And let me come to the member for Palmerston. I table a photo of a protest by Palmerston residents outside the site of the Clayton's Hospital on Bribie Island. That's a hospital you have when you don't have a real hospital. Yeah. And I'll table that, where these residents are holding up signs, no ED, no
Member
emergency
for Palmerston.
Not a hospital. Not a hospital, not open 24 hours. And I table that because a real hospital has inpatient beds where, when people need to go for services, where they have acute needs, they can get those services. These satellite hospitals this government have come up with are a hospital name only, and they've been called out by the medical profession. But let's look at the signs that were put out by the Labor member for Palmerston, which are Labor equals Bribie Hospital. Bribie Hospital votes Ali King. And vote Ali King for a Bribie Hospital. And I table these fake signs for a fake hospital. It's a disgrace, it's trickery in the names of the member herself, sham and deception. And this is not a real hospital. And I think that the people of Bribie have been misled by the member when in an election campaign she puts out these signs, and now all they're getting is a day facility.
Point of order,
all they're getting
Speaker.
is a day facility.
Pause the clock. Member for Mauritius, I'll ask you to take a seat. Member for Palmerston, what's your point of order?
I find the member's comments personally offensive, and I ask her to withdraw them.
I withdraw.
Thank you, member.
It's completely misleading, dishonest and a sham and trickery for this Labor government to pretend this is a hospital. And anybody who parades in this place and asks for people to vote for them for a hospital in Bribie and then gives them a day facility has misled the people of Bribie Island. It is a disgrace, and it needs to be called out, because one of the risks is that people will go to this facility thinking it's actually a hospital. And I think we've got to call this out as a dud hospital promise, that it's not real, from a dud government and a dud minister. We have an ambulance ramping crisis, and at the Caboolture Hospital there is a 48% of those ambulances are waiting too long. They're ramping. 48% of those ambulances are ramping versus the statewide percentage of 44%. 44% is too high, but you see at Caboolture Hospital, which is a real hospital, is under pressure. And yet this deceit and trickery and sham of this government, that what they're proposing in Bribie is going to somehow release inpatient beds, is just beyond belief. And it needs to be called out and it needs to be exposed. And that's what we're saying here today. Give the people real services. Don't give them this fudged, dodgy approach where you call something a hospital and it isn't. This government spent $220 million wasted on Wellcamp. Imagine if you'd spent that on real inpatient beds. They've lost control of health. They didn't keep their promise in respect to pursuing 50-50 funding with the federal government and now gone to water. And now they're trying to sell
The member's time has
absolute
expired.
mistruth about hospitals in Queensland.
Deputy Speaker.